Did you hear about Shannon Ross? The Aussie mechanic turned MMA fighter lost about 20,000 bucks in his first UFC fight, and we can't wrap our heads around this number. It seems like a tale of passion and promise, but the guy didn't even want to be in the game in the first place. There's a lot to unpack here, so without further ado, let's dive right in. Well then, did he really lose that much? $20,000? Yikes. But he didn't gamble it away or something. No sir. This guy is solid in this way. An upright father of 4 who wanted to make it big in the UFC and was good for it too. It seems that luck wasn't on his side though. In 2020, when he last fought in Abu Dhabi, Shannon had to spend a huge chunk out of his personal savings to get back home. The pandemic hit and next came flight delays, ticket surges, hotel accommodations being canceled, and he had to pay for quarantining at a hotel. This all added up to a whopping $20K, and all of this had to come from his own pocket. The star has spoken about this time quite candidly and explained how difficult it was to make a call home to tell his wife this. They just had their 4th child, were in the middle of a house renovation, and money was pretty tied up. To top that, his win had come at the cost of his hand being injured, so it was a pretty bleak situation. All of this sounds like such a mess. A gifted player has to go through such a hard time, facing one thing after the other. We just want to say we're so glad you didn't give up, man, but things weren't as optimistic always. You know how one thing happens, and then you just keep waiting for the other shoe to drop? We feel like that's what happened to this guy. From someone who didn't even think about pursuing this career path to working 40 hours a week as a mechanic, training to be a fighter and be around to help his family, this guy's come a long way. It all began when his coach pushed him to pursue a fight. While he was reluctant, Shannon was given the ultimatum that he either sign up or leave the gym. He recalls that he was at the gym only to stay fit, but instead got the opportunity of a lifetime. We think he always had it in him, and that's exactly what his coach saw too. Why else would he push someone to do something they weren't keen on? He won his MMA debut, which landed him the opportunity to meet Mick Maynard, Vice President of Talent Relations at the UFC, a company matchmaker. He was pretty interested in signing the guy, but COVID kicked in and slowed the whole process. Ross says that, for a minute there, he really did doubt if he'd ever be able to reach his dream. Unable to afford another trip to Abu Dhabi, despite his manager's urging, he did wonder if this was as far as he was supposed to come. The good part? He never gave up. He trained and trained, preparing himself for a kick-ass new start, and we can't wait to see him in action. So, he's always had that spark. In a world full of amazing fighters, it takes more than just luck to make it big. His journey to MMA has been incredibly simple. It's like he was always meant to be here. Back in 2016, the guy won 5 out of 6 of his last fights, making his way to the top of the Australian Eternal MMA. Not only did he go on to win the flyweight title, but the man was also strong enough to take on bigger bodies at bantamweight. We aren't singing his praises for anything. This guy is good at what he does. He's just had a bit of tough luck, but he takes this in his stride and is pretty sure that all these fights will come in handy when he finally makes it into the ring. And we have no doubt, not a bit. Wait up, where's he at now? With the world opening up again and getting back to business, our fighter got a chance to showcase his skill at Dana White's Contender Series, and he pulled no punches there. Face to face with Vinicius Salvador, Ross was seen fighting on till the end, and he impressed Dana to such an extent that he got a standing ovation. Have you ever heard that this happened to any other player? We don't think so. That's not all. He walked into the octagon to congratulate the players, and while Ross may not have the UFC contract right now, it's not a never. White talked about the Australian player fondly and mentioned that nothing is set in stone regarding the contract. We're definitely keeping our fingers crossed. If anyone deserves this chance, it's definitely our guy. We do hope this isn't the last that we see of him. The 33-year-old has quite a bit of fight left in him, and contract or no contract, we're sure we'll be seeing him in the ring soon enough. Let's move on to the latest news and updates. First off, MSG is siding with Jake Paul against Dana White. Well, we have got a bit of drama going down here. Jake Paul was all set to face Hasim Rahman Jr. at Madison Square Garden when his promotion company, MVP, pulled the plug on the fight. In an explanation, they've stated that Rahman disagreed with the weight limit, which had been set at 200 pounds. While they did try to reason with the fighter and even reached out to up the limit by 205, he was adamant that he'd weigh in at 215. What is up with that attitude anyway? Looks like this one is just in it for publicity. Dana White decided to weigh in on the whole debate and put the blame entirely on Paul, claiming that they didn't make enough sales to be able to pull off the fight at MSG. While we think that was entirely uncalled for, an MSG representative had rubbished these claims, saying the fight was projected to be in the top 10 of the highest grossing boxing events at MSG in the past 15 years. Whoa, it feels as if White has an axe to grind against Paul. MSG has released a statement saying they look forward to working with the fighter again, despite the cancellation. The situation is pretty straightforward if you ask us. It seems like Dana White is just trying to stir things up. Also, the UFC bantamweight returns. Are you ready for it? Benito Lopez is coming back after a 40-month layoff, and according to our sources, he's all set to face Mario Bautista at a UFC event coming November. Let's hope that the guy has as much fight in him as he had before his injury. Unable to be in the game for almost 3.5 years, it remains to be seen what he's got. Let's not forget that the guy fought pretty well in his career and has pretty big wins to his name. He made his debut as a flyweight for Bellator in 2014 and was able to make it to Dana White's Contender Series, a feat in its own right, in 2017. Well, we can tell you that he isn't a violent fighter, as if violence isn't his game. He won the Contender Series against Steve Peterson without producing a stoppage, which tells us that he's pretty calm and calculated in his approach. No wonder he won. This guy was on a winning streak, winning bout after bout. He won that fight against Albert Morales at UFC Fight Night, Swanson vs. Ortega, by a unanimous decision. Then there was the time when he faced Manny Bermudez at UFC on ESPN, Ngannou vs. Velasquez in 2019, which must have hit hard considering it was his first professional loss. But not to be deterred by a single defeat, he bounced back with a win against Vince Morales at the UFC Fight Night Durandamy vs. Ladd in the same year. It looks like we're in for a treat because Bautista, Lopez's opponent, is 10-2 in his career, while the date has been set at November 5th. We're yet to find out about the venue, and the fight is yet to receive an official name. Let's wait and find out what they have in store for us. And finally, it might be some time before we see Colby in a fight. We're sure you've heard all that has gone down between Colby Covington and George Masvidal. While the case is still open and we're nowhere near a resolution or even finding out more about this, we're sure of one thing: it'll be a while before Chaos makes it back to a fight, having suffered horrible injuries as a result of being attacked by Masvidal at a steakhouse. The fighter is currently taking his time to heal. Daniel Cormier said on his DC and RC podcast, to be attacked in that way, viciously, it would be hard to come back and do other things. Colby Covington is doing what he needs to do, relaxing, playing some cards, and making money. So it's a good thing, and we agree completely. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Shannon losing $20,000 and still having the drive to stay in the game? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and press that bell icon for the latest information and news like this. See ya in the next one.